Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to go over the recap of the shareholder meeting from Zion Oil and Gas that happened today, June the 9th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I apologize. I tried to go live, but I just couldn't quite get the software to work out. But I'll figure that out eventually. But I went ahead and took notes and got a bunch of details from the meeting for those of you who could not watch it live or listen in. So I have a lot to cover, so let's just go ahead and dive on into it. All right, guys, so we began promptly at 2 p.m. At about 2:10, they opened up the voting for everybody who hadn't casted their votes, and I gave them about 10 minutes. So about 2:15, you see they gave a little 5-minute announcement saying, hey, there's 5 minutes remaining. By 2:20, votes were closed. By 2:25, they had adjourned that portion of the meeting and then opened it up to the informal part of the meeting, which was very, very good and positive in my opinion. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the questions that were asked. And he gave just a brief update prior to the questions and answers. They just said that they finished the third part of drilling and moving into the fourth without any issues or whatnot. So that's a really, really good sign. And from there, they asked a ton of questions, and they were all really, really good questions. So I'm going to go through all of them with you and tell you what the answers were. This was recorded, guys, this meeting, so you can listen to the recap here, but in about a week they said that they'll post this recap probably on their website, so you can actually watch it in actually watch the meeting and get more a feel of kind of how the meeting was and everything like that, and go through and make sure I didn't miss anything. Should be good. So they asked, what's the timeline of completion with the target depth for the rig, and the target depth of 5,600 meters. And they said by the end of July, they're looking like they should reach their target depth. And they said, the next question was, will they release the 3D seismic data? And he says, no, this is a proprietary information and is not public knowledge. And he compared it to being like KFC releasing the recipe for their chicken. This question was actually asked several times about the 3D seismic data. There was a lot of questions asked multiple times. They asked about the license in Israel. What's going on with the license in Israel? So it is up to date, and the end date currently is December 2nd, 2021, but they are in contact with Israel consistently on furthering their explorations and continuing that relationship for drilling. Someone asked, as the stock rises, will you open up Zion Oil and Gas up to other marketplaces? And they said they would possibly consider it. Someone asked about the updates in the PR. Can you update us more consistently? They said yes. The new timeline for news should be about every 2 weeks or so. Phase 3 was very slow, and it takes a while because you're actually getting into the limestone material and things like that. So it's typically a lot slower is what the guy said. So that's why they couldn't really release as much information. And he also went on to say, if I don't really have anything to report, I don't want to just throw something out there. We want to make sure that we have good information to report to the shareholders. Next question was, why are you increasing the shares? And they responded, for future growth. But this was some good news, guys. They said that this is no guarantee that they're actually going to issue those shares. This is just to get a vote on if they need to do that for future exploration and future funding and stuff like that. So they said they actually have no plans to issue them as of yet. Just because it was approved doesn't mean that they'll actually do it. So they just said it's just in anticipation for future use. So next. They asked about the leadership changes in Israel and how that may affect Zion, and basically no changes. They don't see any type of negative things happening to them because of that. How deep can this rig drill? Up to 20,000 feet, which exceeds their target depth of a little over 18,000 feet. Would you consider a 2-for-1 stock split for your investors? And they said that they would possibly entertain it. So basically, once they hit oil and the stock price starts to rise, would you consider doing that? Because there's a lot of people that have been investing in the company for years. Years and years and years. So they said, yeah, so we're going to do everything that we can to take care of our shareholders. So that's pretty cool. And they asked about the price of the stock price itself, the share price, and they said, well, it is a publicly traded company, so the market is going to do what the market's going to do, but eventually it will correct itself. Next was, do you have any updates on well testing? And this here, so they verified, due to some of the testing, they verified some of the geological markings were accurate with what their findings were. If you find oil, will you, this was asked a lot of times. So basically in a nutshell, they were asking if you find oil, will you do like some type of media blitz? I think the question was to share this with the world. And they were like, yes, absolutely. And they said, we're going to get this out to as many people as possible. We're going to, blasting it out and telling everybody that we found oil. And they actually have to, alert Israel that they found it. So it's going to be public knowledge, and they'll get it out. So that's good. They'll release some type of statement. That was a concern. Well, we heard that you weren't going to tell anybody if you found it. Well, that's not true. They're going to do it. They have to. They asked if you find oil, how long is it going to take to see if it's commercially viable? Said it can take anywhere from 4 to 6 week turnaround time for that. Next was, will investors be informed prior to the public if you hit oil? No, they can't do that. So they're going to let everybody know at the same time. It's going to be public knowledge. They won't send out some type of secret email to us letting us know that they hit oil. It's like everyone's going to find out at once. And someone says, have you found oil? And he told us that there have been some small amounts of hydrocarbon deposits that have been seen, which is normal whenever you are drilling for oil. So, he didn't say come out and say, yeah, we hit oil or nothing like that, but they have found some signs of hydrocarbon deposits, which is good. He did go on to say that he is not discouraged at all by any means. And they asked him, well, are you optimistic? And he said, of course I'm optimistic. I'm in the oil and gas industry. They kind of made a little joke on there. And then I went on to say the stock price has nothing to do with the completion of the well, and they feel very confident that they'll have enough funds to complete the project. Okay, guys, so I know that was kind of quick, but I just wanted to give you just everything kind of in a nutshell of what happened. So they had some really, really good questions in the meeting. A lot of people were asking some questions. Most of them were really, really repetitive. So I answered, I condensed everything down to, like, if they asked several questions, I just, of the same question, I just used it once on this slide. So I hope this helped and kind of shed some insight on how the meeting went for those of you who did not get to watch. If there's something that I may have missed and you did watch and you didn't hear it on this video, feel free to comment below and let me know. Other than that, guys, let's take a look at the charts and see what they're telling us. All right, guys, so we're looking at Zion Oil and Gas down about 11% for the day. It did not really tank like I thought. So I had a buy set for 25 cents. I never fell that low, got as low as about 35 cents or so, and just kind of held around there. It still makes me feel that we could see a little bit more room for downside, just because we did break that support level and we're still not quite in undervalued territory. That's really what I'm waiting on now, guys, is if we can fall down a little bit lower and get into undervalued, that's where I'll finish out my position. Overall, I think the meeting actually was pretty positive, went well, and I'm excited over the next couple of weeks, guys. Hopefully we'll get some good news and see this thing start to move into a positive direction. And might be some people out there upset because they didn't give out like a full update or wanted some more news or whatnot. Just keep in mind they really can't. I mean, if they don't have anything to report, they can't. They have to be smart about what they report and how they report it. But overall, it seems like everything is going great. There's no hindrances whatsoever, and we'll just have to kind of wait and see what plays out over the next couple of weeks. So again, my plan, hopefully it dips down into the 20s, worst case, and I can get some more shares there. If it kind of hovers around here, this may be where I have to finish my position out. But again, I'm just kind of hoping that it falls down into the undervalued territory before I can finish out my position and just hold for the next month to see what happens. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in this video. Make sure that you smash the thumbs up button if you found value in today's video. And if you enjoy our content, of course, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. That way YouTube can let you know every time we release new content. Other than that, guys, we'll catch you in the next video.